So let's talk about the MG100 version of the P90 and all the setups you can, different configurations you can make. Also about how to assemble some of the parts of it. But yeah, let's go. I've already shown on different video how to assemble the trigger, so I will show this now on the screen, so I will not disassemble this grip necessarily. But this is same design. To install the trigger, it's kind of the same story. I'm not in the mood to really disassemble this, so I will pick up the prototype model to show it. But you basically just remove or install, in case it is an installation, just install or remove those 3 screws that are on the opposite side. Then you can install or remove this plate. Let's call it, for sake of ease, just now remove. Remove this plate. Then you have this big grip and this plate. Just take the trigger, place it inside, make sure it moves easy. Install the 2 springs that you want. There are some holes in the back of the trigger and the frame where you can place those springs. You can install the trigger only when it's all the way to the back, and then you can move it forward. This way the reel will not interfere with the trigger. So it's a smooth pull, you could say. It is up to you if you want to use the P90 style grip on the normal shroud, that I would consider the long shroud. Planet eclipse. Then it would look like this. So in this setup it will be considered just a normal bullpup, in the sense that you don't use any of the P90 magazine features, but you will just use the magazines that are feet below, like the die magazines and Planet Eclipse. That is why this grip also is kind of angled, so you got a little bit, and now with this EMEK it doesn't demonstrate it as well, but you can place your fingers a bit better, especially because they are longer, and just use that buttons, and it works pretty well. But it's kind of up to you if you like the idea that this kind of moves on. You can say, okay, then I can attach a flashlight or let's say a tripod, but maybe a bit strange, but it's up to you. You got a little bit more wheel space, so you can attach things onto that. It's also, of course, less 3D printing things, so if you have like, this feels a lot stronger to me and I have more trust in it, things like that, or whatever, you can use it like this. Also, you can use it with a short shroud that's styled to the P90 charging handles in front. This will make the most sense when you also use the grip. And I'm here at this moment aligning the metal rod to go inside of the trigger grip. Just hold your finger behind this piece, so it got you got something to press against, so that the pin slides in there, and then you got the working trigger. So as you see, now is this one flush piece. So if you like the style of that a little more, that you do want to have the P90 style grips but use the magazines below, you have this nice low profile design, and it's more compact this way. Also, a benefit of this shroud is, and that's something I don't totally get why they did this, the hole in the front of the shroud is smaller than the barrels are. And then you would say, oh, that's to support the shroud against the barrel. No, the barrel doesn't touch the shroud, so it's totally, in that regard, totally useless. I don't get it, because Planet Eclipse usually thinks things really through, and I don't get why they did that. Because now if you want to change this barrel, in this shroud. You need to remove this shroud in case to remove the barrel. And it can only fit barrels that are small in the front, and yeah, it's a bit odd in my opinion. And even though this is quite small, I managed that like a barrel like this, if it is not threading, yeah, okay, let's get out. You can slide it out just with the shroud in place. But it also makes it possible to just take a Nemesis barrel, slide them on in, because the Nemesis barrel is thicker in the front. It will not fit in this shroud. At least not if you drill it out or things like that. I would not see why that would hinder your performance. So if it would be my mark, I would have done that already. Just I don't see the benefit of it, to have that small opening in the front. But then you got the 14-inch, I believe it was a 14-inch barrel. Let's make sure, because I say in size and the people are complaining like, it's the wrong size, that's the wrong size. So in reality, this with the suppressor on there, not suppressor, the muzzle brake on there, it's like 17-inch. But if you would take that one off, it's a 14-inch barrel. But that's only for that you know what the looks are. But yeah, this will be, if you go for the P90 bullpup without the magazines, don't bother with that, and just want to use the magazines you already have. I totally get that. And then you got this stealth grip. If you want to attach the P90 mount set on there, let's call it that way. It's not official, but anyways, then just slide the back cap off. It helps it again, and you loosen the screws, and you don't use the locking tab. Matter of fact, the locking tab needs to be open in both cases. With this one, it needs to be open all the times. When you have removed the back cap, you can slide this piece on, let's say the mounting plate of the P90. Kinda look at your feed neck. If it aligns, then of course you can also look at, let's say where the mounting hole is for the bolt, that is aligned, then you know it's the right place. Again, how to make this one I will show in a different video. I already showed it with a different model. The magazine activator is a little screw. But first I want to go with the 3D printed pin, but yeah, I figured out pretty fast, and it's kinda in hindsight really logic, with layer lines, things like that. It's kinda delicate, so it's way better to make just a hole and you thread in a piece and a bolt at a certain height. It will also be told in the documentation. So yeah, it's way more strong to use it like this. To install this sliding piece, I will show a different design, because that's already in few pieces, so it's easier to show. So what it basically will be is this. You got this piece. You can remove the supports sometimes more easily by putting some pliers or something like that below there, but that's kind of beside the point. Then you got 3 spaces to put springs inside. And basically what I use are just 2 springs on the outsides of the thing. But if you like it to have more tension or less, you can play around with the spring sizes, and maybe use 3 springs or 1 really strong spring. It's kind of up to you. But anyways, you will put those inside of there. Of course, make sure beforehand that this moves smoothly. And when you put the plate on it, it still moves easy. But if that's the case, just put some springs inside of there. put this plate there, and just put the 2 bolts that will be noted in documentation, and just screw it in, and then this part is finished, and you don't really need to put disassemble this in later stages. And now you can just slide it in, turn the bolts tighter so it will not be easy to remove. If some pieces are really loose, and this piece is really notorious for that it wants to slide around on the rail. It's also because this doesn't have any bolt. Then you can use an iron like that and just press some lines. You can see them on the other side. Press some lines on the let's say the top side and the bottom side, and that's enough. It provides just a little bit more grip. Okay, this will be the P90 with a low profile mount on it. So then you can just flip in the magazine and attach it like that. So this way you have less obstructions, especially when shooting just round ball. That's good enough like this. But if you really like the P90 look with, of course, the big piece on it, you can do that. And of course you could mount lights on that one and a red dot, things like that. But I will show that in a moment. But this would be the low profile edition, I could say. Also, let's cover really quick. If you want to shoot first strikes, this will only shoot round ball. So if you want to shoot first strikes, you can use this plug, big plug. Just slide it in like that. It fit in. This will make sure that you can use the magazines below without the paint flying out from the top. So in this case, then you can shoot first strikes and also round ball. You have run out your magazines with this one. Also, a different option is to use a small plug. Just drop that one in. There's a pin that makes sure that you can only push it in the right way. Also, if you would move it upside down, it will not fall out. You need to push this piece back and then turn it upside down, or use your fingers. You can lift it up as well. Just push it back with your finger and use your other fingers to pull it out. But anyways, what that will do, then you can just take the P90 magazine and that will secure that pin in place. This way you got, when you record it on the camera for yourself when you're playing, the really still the P90 look without it's like it's empty without a magazine and you're still playing. May looks a bit weird, and that's kind of the idea of this one. So yeah, this is how the P90 would look with the riser on top, with the rails. This is how you mostly will see this one from the videos you've already seen, probably. And yeah, it's a nice look, but it definitely makes it more taller. So if you are like a paintballer who doesn't really use optics, things like that, and you don't really necessarily have to P90 idea that you really have the classical P90, let's call it that way, then you could consider the low profile one. Then less of an obstruction, but at the same time it's not too bad. Make it maybe sound more bad than it really is, but yeah, definitely makes it really kind of a tall marker, because it's of course taller than a normal P90 is, but at the same time it got some characters, like really big, like some video games, you know, they could make the guns extra big, and it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of fun, I guess. But it's kind of, yeah, it's really your own taste, of course. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I've covered everything. Again, if you want to put a safety, do it like that, and the trigger is, yeah, just pressing the trigger, and insert the magazine is just by pressing it down, and when you release it, it will kind of pop up automatically because of the springs, things like that. So you'll definitely know when it's inserted or not. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the P90, for the MG100.